Hey guys, it's Jeff Hartman. It's the Neptune Man, and today I'm going to go ahead and tell you about a little problem I had with a car. It's an older car. It's a 2006 Nissan Altima. I purchased this back in November of 2018 for my daughter Chelsea to drive as this first starter car. And it's been a pretty good car so far, but it has 105,000 miles on it or so. But when I first bought this car, one of my coworkers says, "Oh, I better watch that crankshaft sensor," because apparently he had a Nissan Altima and he had to replace the crankshaft sensor. And but we didn't have any check engine lights, so she's been driving it. We put probably maybe 4,000 on it, and I just dropped my car off at the body shop because someone had rear-ended me. I had to get the bumper replaced and part of the exhaust system and everything. And so we go to the store. And then we were going to another store, and Chelsea goes, "Oh, the check engine light just came on." It's kind of odd, but it still ran okay and everything. So we went to the next store, and when we came out, the car wouldn't start up. It's like it just turned over. That's the first time it never started. So I figured, well, it's probably due to that check engine light. So we were close enough to walk back to my car because it was a Sunday. I dropped off at the night drop, and I had my other key with me. So we went and got my car, drove back home. I got my computer. I have a ODB computer to read the codes. So I went back to the car, the Altima, and hooked it up, and it gave me a P0430, which is a camshaft sensor. So it has to know basically the camshaft as it's rotating, the position of it. The computer has to know, so it knows when to fire the spark plugs and fire the fuel injector. So after I checked the code, it's kind of odd. I did clear the code out. You can erase the code, but the car started right up. So I thought, well, that's probably a temperature thing because I know sometimes when you start, while you shut your car off, the temperature can rise, and when these sensors get sensitive to that, they might not work as they heat up, and then when they have time to cool off, they may work. And I think that's what was happening here. So, well, I'm thinking it's time to replace that sensor. So we drove that car back home. I started looking online, and other people had this trouble. A lot of people had this issue with the Nissan Altimas, and I called the dealership, and they wanted about $100 for a new sensor. So that's not bad. I mean, you got to have if you want the OEM sensor. Now, one guy on YouTube, he says, well, he bought an aftermarket sensor, but he it's about 30% less, about 30%, yeah, about $30 probably. But he said it only lasted 2 or 3 months, and also when he took the aftermarket sensor out, it had scrape marks on it from the camshaft was actually scraping it. That's probably not good. So it was a little bit longer than the OEM apparently. So he said he recommended getting the OEM part, which is what I was going to do anyway, because I don't want to change it once. But when I talked to the Nissan dealership, I asked him, I said, what about the crankshaft sensor? Because I heard those can go bad as well and leave you stranded. And he said, yeah, that sensor is the same as the camshaft sensor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and buy another one and replace that one as well. Now let me show you some pictures. Here's the right side of this engine compartment. You got the battery. Here's the water inlet. I'm thinking that's the temperature sending unit. But the camshaft sensor is right in that area right there. And I found out that I could take off this air intake. You got a flat screwdriver here, and you got a 10 millimeter here. So you can take this. This clamp is really hard to get off. When I took these two clamps off here and started pulling on it, it actually came unhooked from in here. So it just slid. But when I put it back together, I make sure it slid back onto that nipple inside there. So that way this comes out. All this gets out of the way. Makes it easier to change that sensor. Now here's a close-up shot of the sensor. You have a number, well, it's a 10 millimeter bolt here. That's the only thing that holds that thing in. And once I got the bolt out, it was kind of hard to get me because there's an O-ring. And it was kind of hard to, you could turn it, but it didn't want to come out. So I had to really kind of pull and twist, to get that thing out of there. And there's another close-up shot. You can see the 10 millimeter bolt. So other than that, it's pretty easy to swap this out. I'm out in the parking lot of the school because Chelsea, the next day, and Monday morning, Chelsea was driving around, and the check engine light came on again, and she was concerned about it, stalling on her and leaving her stranded. So Here's with the air intake hose taken off. So it gives you more room to work on that section there. There's another shot of it. I actually removed this too. This is the water temperature sensor. So I'm going to have to plug that to give me a clear shot of that bolt. And there's the old sensor I took out. You can see it's all plastic pretty much. And you know, the engine's a rough environment for oil and chemicals, and yeah, it just seems like this one developed a temperature issue, but if oil gets in the sensor, that can mess it up. Now here's what the new sensor looks like. It has a metal can on it, and you can see the O-ring right there. And I just took some oil from the old one, just kind of put around the O-ring there to help that O-ring to seal up pretty good. And then there it is again. So I hope this video is helpful. So if you've got a Nissan Altima, this was a 2006, and like I said, I think it's got about 109,000 on it now. It's been a really good car. It started up every time, and that's why I was really surprised when we came out. That the second store that it didn't start up. It's like, oh my gosh. Nothing like going to start your car up and it does not start. That's bad. Okay, but this is Jeff Hartman. I hope this was helpful, and I appreciate you. Thanks. Bye-bye.